Let's talk all about AI in business. It's hosted by Brent Muller. Welcome to the Future Proof Podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the latest episode of Future Proof, the podcast where we're decoding how founders, leaders, and execs are working smarter by using systems, AI, automation. If you're looking to future-proof your business, you're definitely in the right place. And before we dive in with today's guest, if you're a founder, leader, C-suite exec, and you're feeling the pressure to grow faster and with less resources, leaner teams, we're constantly developing new leading-edge AI solutions. Last week, we helped a client save over 30 hours just with their sales team alone. So if you want to see where AI could just add a bunch of hours back or to your week or increase your lead flow, we do free, no pitch, 30-minute collabs. Check out the links in the show notes. But let's get to today's guest. I am really excited to have Sally Mueller from Womaness. Sally, thank you for spending time with us.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Yeah, so let's jump right in. Let's talk about, first off, we always do founder's journey. So talk about your background leading up to your role at Womaness.
Well, I like to say I've had three huge pivots in my career, my 40-year career, dating myself now. So I started actually at Target Corporation as a merchant. And then I moved over to marketing and led a lot of the designer programs and really the I would say brand level marketing that made Target really, known for like affordable design and cheap chic. So that was a 25-year stint at Target.
Wow.
So
Awesome.
had many different positions, but I loved working there. It was such a phenomenal company for me. And when I was turning 44, I decided to start my own business and just felt like maybe because I was going through menopause, I have no idea, but really had this desire to take everything I'd learned and start my own brand consulting business.
Okay.
So I did that. And then one of my clients hired me. Every 2 years, I seemed to have this pattern. I'd start my own business again, and then one of my clients would hire me.
Right.
But the next, 12 years, essentially, the biggest success I had was I partnered with the founders of Who What Wear, which was a venture-backed mid-sized company called Click Brands. And we brought Who What Wear, a fashion digital brand, into a whole line of fashion products, sold it into Target in the 2015.
Nice.
And then eventually we expanded it to Zalando in Europe and other retailers. And it was a really incredible success story. Because the product sold so well and the marketing was so fresh because we were really on the cutting edge. And based on the success of that, ended up creating First, which is a clean skincare brand, and really leveraged a lot of the community that Click had formed with younger women to co-create product and co-create the brand. So had a lot of experience building brands before my third leg of my career, which is Womaness.
Yeah.
And Womaness has been the most exciting, the most challenging, to be honest. Womaness is all
Anytime
about...
you do your own, right, it's going to be the most challenging for sure because you're wearing all the hats as the founder in the beginning.
Yes.
But
And I think the other thing that's been challenging or exciting, keeping it really interesting, is that we've created a new category.
Walk us through
we
that.
launched. So Womaness, just so your audience knows, Womaness is all about modernizing healthy aging. And it's with a particular focus on perimenopause and menopause solutions.
Yeah.
So we offer innovative products. We offer inspiration in the form of community and most importantly, information. So all of that educational information that women are craving. Like you can't just sell a product without wrapping it in the education and the support.
And you know what, Sally, what you're saying right now, and for everybody listening, this is a common theme that we hear about brands in today's landscape, right? Especially e-commerce brands, that you have to wrap around what's behind the brand, but also what's behind the product, and like you're talking about, and the education that goes with it. So I
Yep.
love that you're doing this. This
Yeah.
is cutting edge.
Yeah, thank you. And we launched 4 years ago. So we're actually, almost to the day we launched and 4 years ago. And back then, no one was talking about menopause. I
Right.
mean, it was very hard to even get, a Today Show or Good Morning America or any of those shows to talk about
You're right
menopause.
about that.
And what happened was we just kept fighting, and we had a great PR agency that was helping us. And we finally started getting coverage. We were on The View, we were on Tamron Hall's show, we were in Forbes, we were in Bloomberg. We would not say no to any interview. Every local TV show. I live in the Twin Cities, and the anchor women here have been really supportive. So our mission was really to change the conversation about aging and menopause. And when I say it was a new category, when you walked the aisles of a store, a big mass store, I won't pick on any of the mass stores, but or the drug stores.
Right.
Everything was really very on the bottom shelf. We call it the dusty bottom shelf.
Right. Where no one looks.
Yeah, nothing was modernized. And here, 6-7 years ago, all of these CPG industries were being disrupted. Women's period care, tooth, the whole tooth dental health category.
Dental health, yeah, it's big.
With Quip and all of those new toothpaste and toothbrush disruptors, and deodorant was being disrupted. Think about it. All these CPG categories were the shaving category. But no one was touching menopause. And so when we launched, it was such a new category. And because we took an approach of being a solution, we have supplements, sexual wellness, and skin and body. So we had 13 products when we first launched across 3 different categories. And it's very different how retailers merchandise those categories. Usually, skincare is in the skincare section. Sexual wellness is in usually a variety of sections, to be honest.
Right.
And supplements
good luck finding that stuff, right?
Exactly. And supplements are all over the place.
Right.
So no one pulls it together.
Yeah.
And so when I say a new category, it's also a new way of merchandising a new category. So that's why, it's been the third part of my career has been the most challenging because we've had to almost turn this, along with a few other amazing female founders in the space and doctors that are also, this movement is gaining huge speed.
It is, but it's still got a long way to go, as we talked about before. It does,
but all of us are working so hard to change and modernize the offerings, the conversation, make sure women really feel empowered and know what their options are. So that's a little bit about.
I love what you're talking about. It's so funny because what we're talking about in this, the age range, which you were talking about, you go from the mid 30s to the mid 60s and even in people up till 70, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what a underserved market. So I was talking to someone the other day about it's almost like a stage of life that it's not talked about a lot, right? And when the kids go off to college, I was telling you about my wife and the empty nesters. It's just, to me, this is just a very, very in demand and in need of audience that needs to be served. And so all 3 of your categories, I love what you're doing. So tell me about what the vision is now and where you want to take it.
Well, we're all about, being accessible. We're affordable, but we're also wanting to be on the shelves at, a Walmart. So we're excited to announce that we are just setting in Walmart. Yeah. So we're just launching now, which is great. And, we want to be where the woman is shopping. So she's shopping on Amazon. We love our partnership with Ulta Beauty. Ulta's really done a great job getting behind us.
Well, that's
They're
great.
Getting behind women's health and wellness. They have a whole section now devoted to brands like ours and now at Walmart. So, and of course, our own site, womaness.com. So for us, we want to be that first place she turns to when she starts to feel like something's changing in her body.
Yeah.
And, that could be because women are having children later. It can be very confusing. Like, is it postpartum or
Right.
is it perimenopause? They are
Right.
all kind of blending together. But we want to be there, with her when she's kind of
Well, and that
postpartum.
journey goes pretty far.
Yeah, and it's a third of a woman's life. And a lot of women don't realize that they're actually technically in menopause until they leave the earth.
Yeah.
They think it's just like this phase that they're going to,
In and out,
pound
right?
through. Yeah, in and out. We're going to just pound through it, just deal with it. And two things about that. It is not just something you pound through. You
Right.
should really, really seek out resources. I mean, we're a great resource, but also finding the right doctor
Yeah.
that's knowledgeable. And if you feel like you're not being listened to, find a new
I was
doctor.
just going to ask you that. Can you, talk about that for a second?
A lot of our customers, they have the ability to set up Zooms with myself and my co-founder, Michelle. And we hear from so many women, they're almost in tears. They don't know what to do. Their doctor doesn't listen to them, or they can't find a doctor. So I think there's such a huge care gap between the number of women going through this and the number of providers. And, a lot of doctors that we're working with are making this their calling. They're actually
I love
creating
this.
their own businesses, telehealth solutions, so that they can service more women and spend more time with the women, instead of a doctor who only gives you 10 minutes.
Right.
So
And
it's
you know what?
really,
I want to ask you about this, right? So
Yeah.
between, our own circle of friends, right? We hear this a lot. What you're talking about from the women, and that their doctors don't listen and they chalk everything up to, oh, it's just menopause. There's nothing you can do about it. And I just don't believe that, right?
Right.
That there's nothing you can do about it. But so what are you seeing, and what are you telling your customers to do?
Yeah, and I want to clarify, that's not all doctors.
No, not.
Right.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We're working with, we have a partnership with the Mayo Clinic. We also are working with some really amazing doctors that are on the forefront, and they understand the benefits of hormone therapy and can really, a lot of women need hormone therapy and can benefit from hormone therapy.
Yeah.
And they're also
And probably a lot of them are scared because they don't know what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the Women's Health Initiative did not help that. That was that study in 2002 that came out with really bad data and bad information.
Yeah.
But I would say a lot of these doctors are also really starting to understand the functional side of it too, and what other products and supplements along with hormone therapy can really benefit women. So I probably didn't answer your question, but I
No, you
think
did.
that it's
You did,
changing
because-
so fast.
Yeah, for all the ladies that are watching this, and the husbands of the ladies watching this, this is a common thing, Sally, that we hear. And I really believe that what you're talking about is what is sorely needed. You're unlocking a set of problems, right? That can be course corrected if there's the right information, the right advice, and the right products out there.
Yeah. And just full transparency too, because I think so many women might only understand one part of their solution that's available, right?
Yeah.
And I think we owe it. That's why we don't sell hormone therapy, but we promote the benefits of hormone therapy. We have a lot of good information on our site about hormone therapy that our doctors have written for our blog. And we think it's important. It's our duty to provide the range of options for women, not just our products, but
Yeah, you want to become a resource, right? And like you said, even if it's not your product, you can point them in the right direction.
Right. And we can't sell everything anyway,
Yeah.
It's also lifestyle, exercise, diet. So there's a lot of important, information that we've created to help. Sleep is another big issue too. So there's a lot of good information on our blog about sleep, diet, exercise. And it's not like that scary, you got to go on a diet kind of content. It's like, no, it's just,
common sense and practical.
Sense. Yes. And every woman is different. So every woman's journey is going to be different.
Yeah. I love this. I love your product line. And so talk to me about your vision, right? Because honestly, you're unlocking and cracking and disrupting a whole, I would say disrupting, but I just think this is an ignored right? It's been an
Yeah.
ignored,
Yeah.
I don't know, phase of life for so
Yeah.
many. And I feel like there's so many solutions now. We have so much more data. So, I mean, do you want, I know you're going to expand into the stores. You're going to, you're going to
Yeah.
crack, Walmart's just the first of many, I'm sure. And again, with your relationship with Target, I'm sure that's not far off. But what's the other, is it adding more product line? Is it getting more distribution? What are you and your co-founder Michelle thinking?
We are thinking that we do need to we have new product in development to launch.
That's exciting.
We'll never be one of those brands that has 40 products, right? Because we think women want simplicity. They want to know, what are the 3 skincare products I need to use at night? I don't need 25 options.
Right.
She's already confused and overwhelmed. Why do we need to overwhelm her with too many products? So we're being very strategic about new product development when we're launching and what we're launching. I would say part of our vision too is to partner with more of these innovative doctors and other startups in this space, and that are doing complementary things like coming together. This is not a time to be like competitive. This is a time to join forces.
Collaborative, right? If anything, collaborative.
Huge opportunity. And I think that's the next phase, because so many women now are jumping on starting businesses in this space.
Mm-hmm.
And so how I see it is it's getting to be a very fragmented industry.
Yeah.
And what's happening, no one's getting the funding that you need to build and scale. So we're all just like capital starved.
Taking little pieces, right?
Taking little pieces. So I think rolling up with other companies is part of the I mean, there's so much that's part of the future. Believe me.
This is really, really exciting. I love the space that you're in.
Fast changing.
Yeah.
Fast changing.
Yeah. And your outlook on this, forget the competition. There's just not enough people serving this market, which is great. But the collaborative nature with the doctors and other cutting edge solutions.
I think that's the future.
Because if there's 5 or 6 of those, including Womaness, and you are all pointing your audiences to each other, they're going to get the resources and the help they need, right, to make this phase of their life that much better. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
So tell me about, I told you about, we're all about how cutting edge technology is influencing the industry. Tell me about e-commerce and really your industry in general, how you think AI, automation, all that is influencing, helping, hurting.
We're so excited about AI. As simple as going on to, Chat GPT or Grok.
Grok or Claude. There's so many.
So my husband actually went on to Grok the other day and he typed in, what's the best menopause brand in the market? And he was so excited. He's like, Sally, come look at the computer screen. It says Womaness is the best menopause brand.
I love it.
So it was so well informed. I mean, it had all these, it was incredible. Not just because it said we were the number one, but it had all the reasons why. And it said, Bonafide is also very good. And this is why, different brands. So I just think AI is going to help women also become informed about ingredients.
Yeah.
So it's going
Which matter
to just,
a lot, right? Yeah.
Women really know a lot about ingredients and they want to know more. And so I think these different AI platforms are going to just really transform the way consumers start to understand more about brands and what they're made of, or the ethos of the company. And, there's a lot of talk right now because of the tariffs, how much of your product is made in China? Well, our product is made in the United States, and, we're not getting credit for that. Right. So, I just think a lot of information, consumers are becoming very sophisticated. They're smart,
they are.
And they want to know, where's the product made? Who's behind this brand anyway? Is it a dupe brand? Is it just 2 guys that started a menopause company and they're importing all this product from China?
Right.
Or is it a real company founded by women, that really, or doctors that have really gone through it themselves. So anyway, the authenticity is going to be,
that's a great word.
So important.
Great word.
Yeah.
I think that the more more consumers use the AI, the more they learn, the more educated, and they're going to gravitate towards authenticity.
Yeah. Yep. And so that's like low hanging fruit.
Right.
I think there's such a huge need for content and content testing.
Yes.
50% of our business today is through our own website.
That's
and
excellent.
The number one way we advertise, God love them, is Meta. And
talk to us about that. Yeah.
Very challenging. Very, very challenging. So the idea of constantly creative testing, different ways to lead in, the ad or what the hook is or what the creative is, and using AI to help speed that whole process up. Is definitely an opportunity. I also think, and I've looked at a lot of different female founders that have started platforms that are kind of like care assist models. So, when we first launched, and it's still on our site, we have a quiz for women. So they can go on and they can say, yes, I think I'm in perimenopause. This is what I feel like is happening to my body. And then we come back and we share product recommendations. But the future is more of an AI care assistant that helps. You don't have to fill out a survey. You just
chat with it, right?
You just chat with it. And then content comes your way based on your needs and your questions, your product recommendations. We can even weave in some other brands, hormone therapy, possibly. I think it could be really cool.
Yeah, so really cool.
We're looking at that. I also think there would be incredible opportunity for AI to help with customer database information. And I know obviously following all the privacy rules, but what we need to stay close to our customer.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to knit all of the information together.
It's getting easier. I'm going to give you hope. It's getting much easier.
Thank you. Maybe you can help us in that. Yeah. But I want to be so close to our customer. I want to know what her sentiment is, what her...
Yeah. And that all can be captured now. This is the beauty of AI if it's done right. And what's great about that, for everybody listening, Sally is on to what I think is the future, which is how do I know so much about my customer, that individual, that I personalize their experience like nobody else on Womaness. And that sets you apart immediately. And the best part is with that quiz, you learn so much about them, right? And as long as it can be compartmentalized to that customer, not shared, you're okay. But I do think what you're talking about, that is the next level of personalization, that AI is the only mechanism that can do that. And if it's done right, the experience for that customer on your site is second to none. Because that's what everybody wants. And I've seen a few platforms that do it, right? Not in your space, but in like just with data and what it gives you. And it blows your mind. Just like your husband when he did the Grok search. Like that is really cool stuff. And if you can translate that onto your user experience, like that's the stickiness that customers
need. I know.
Yeah.
I get so excited.
I do too. That's what you can see it. Yeah.
The other thing that I think would be really a huge opportunity, and it's starting to happen, given the growth of omnichannel, like in order for these brands like our brand to grow substantially, we think we need to be in other retailers. And I'm standing at the Walmart the other day looking at our product for the first time. It's kind of emotional.
Yeah,
when you're like,
it is.
oh, these are my children on the shelf. But if you're new to it, you don't know anything about Womaness, how do you easily, as you're standing there or before you go to shop the store, how do we provide as much education to you as if you were shopping on our own site? So it's connecting across these channels.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, I think even retailers have to quit worrying about the threat that they're not going to shop their store. The consumer is going to shop where she wants to shop.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And you can't stop her from, where she's going to shop on Amazon or
I can already picture to where you have your display, right? And you have a little QR code and says,
Yeah.
take our quiz before and to figure out what the right product is. They
Yeah.
do that and they can chat right on their phone. Like that's where it's going. And so
Right. It is. It
yeah,
is.
and
So
to me, that's the responsibility of the brand going forward. As much as I've learned from my podcast guests about this, is that's where brands are going. That
yeah.
exactly what you said is education and guidance. And honestly, I think that makes your customers love you more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's just so much opportunity
Yeah.
using AI. And
Yeah.
I think,
No doubt about it. I
I
really
mean-
think, and I think most people, it's so funny. Most people, when I ask them that question, they talk about the tactical things. What you just talked about is the customer experience thing. And I think that is how everybody should think about where it should be from the customer first back,
right.
not from the back
How do we help
to the
them?
front.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But especially when you have a brand that is so needed, right? And it's so engaging. And if you can start to do that education piece, which you're already doing at a level that most companies are not.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Good.
So, all right. So I told you I was going to ask you a question at the end, right? What is something, Sally, that you and or Michelle use, right, AI, to make yourselves more productive leaders for your company that you think other leaders and founders would find useful?
I know Michelle has been using it for content, helping. Like she'll write the first pass of a blog article, and then AI has really helped sharpen those articles as well. So, I mean, that's pretty elementary at this point, but it's maybe not everyone's using it.
It's huge, right?
I know. I mean, I think that what I'm using it for is just sharpening my communication, I'm writing to a lot of investors. I'm writing to a lot of different
audiences, right?
Yeah.
How different from writing to an investor pool or an investor versus your consumers, right?
I know. And so I've been using it for that. We did an annual survey we had 800 customers respond, and we put the survey results into AI and got back like a fake podcast between two people talking about our Womaness survey.
Yeah.
So it's also just different ways to educate internally. I think it's, maybe they don't want to read the survey. They'd rather listen to the survey. So that's just another way to kind of socialize our information. So
I love it.
I don't know. There's so much opportunity.
There is.
I want to touch on Meta again.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Because there's such a mystery at times of how Meta's working.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating because, one
they
day
made some big changes recently. So yeah, I get it.
Right. Sometimes it's working and then all of a sudden it will stop working as well. And then you have to, retool it. I think there's I don't know why there isn't more support to help us actually do better, because we would actually spend more if we were selling more.
Everybody on Meta that I talk to has that same exact answer. It's like, I'll spend more if.
Yeah. But I think AI would help us, or could play a role in just different hooks, different, creative iterations, speeding up that whole learning process too. Yeah. And then even just the creative, execution, because we spend so much time and resources like working on every iteration of an ad. So
remind me after the podcast, I'll give you a little one or two resources for you to just play with.
Okay, great.
But anyway, the one thing I will tell you about Meta is that, because again, we have some e-com partnerships, and what they've discovered is that the algorithm now is, 80 or 90% reading the creative. So the creatives, what you're working on is the most important thing, the creatives. And so keep doing that, right? That was always like a piece of it, but now they're emphasizing more because they have the ability to use AI to extract everything they need out of the creative, which they didn't before. So that's and you watch Google and Meta are both using AI differently, which disrupts everybody's campaigns all the time. So you're right. It's a struggle. So, and I think we're in that churning where they're figuring it out, which is making everybody else, lose their minds, because you're like, one day it's knocking it out of the park, and the next day you're like, what just happened? Right?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, and I think back to what you said about personalization, like what ad is going to resonate with this person?
Yes.
You might need a lot more creatives.
Right. And that's why
Right?
micro audiences will become a big thing. So, instead of making everybody see the same ad, if someone, is interested in one of your products, that's the product you want to put in front of them, right? Because they've already kind of raised their hand and said, yeah, that's what I'm interested in. So I get it. I got to tell you, Sally, I am so excited about your company, your product line, just being around so many women in this phase of life right now and all saying the same thing. And I'm like, why is this industry not being served?
Yeah.
And
well,
so,
thanks, Brett.
Yeah, you're going to knock it out of the park. And we're going to come back to you probably in 6 months and get an update and see how you're doing.
That would be great.
Walmart's just the 1st of May. I know.
Yeah. Thank you. This has been so fun.
Yeah. So tell everybody how, because we'll put all the links to your store and everything that you do when this goes live. But please tell everybody how to go talk, interact, and get some of your products.
Yeah. So womaness.com, and it's WOMANESS. Sometimes people spell it wrong, but it's
not
Womaness.
Two N's. Yeah, Womaness.
Yes. And follow us on, Facebook and Instagram at My Womaness.
Love it.
LinkedIn. Michelle and I are pretty active on LinkedIn. Womaness is on LinkedIn as well. We do a lot of informational, educational articles on LinkedIn. And
well, let me ask you one last question. For all the influencers that might be seeing this, that cater to this market and cater to women, and can they help and join, or do you have an affiliate program and all that?
Yes. Yeah. We have an affiliate program. We would love to just
Can
DM
we put
us.
the links when we go live on that?
Yeah.
To sign up for the affiliates?
Let's put the links. I also want to mention that we have a private Facebook group called the After Party, and we have about 10,000 members. It's for women that just want to learn from each other, learn from our doctors. It's not a selling platform. It's really just
collaboration platform.
Yeah,
right?
collaboration. So that's another really good resource.
I love that you do that. So
thank you.
We're gonna follow you and root for you, no doubt about it.
Okay.
Sally, thank you. Yeah.
Thank
you for spending the time with us.
Brent.
We are really excited to get this thing awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, that wraps up this episode of Future Proof. And we always say, future proof what matters in your business and automate the rest. Till our next episode, we will see you guys later. Bye.
If you're ready to embrace change and lead with innovation, be sure to subscribe and never miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Future Proof Podcast.